la penlong ya ka regional orientation workshop na ka banta ki nong tho ko bor ka than chate lamingi halar ka hok jong ki khana manta ka singi hapany wood hotel Shillong ha ka bai ne ka workshop la penlong da ka National Commission for Protection of Child Rights ha ka jingi trilang bat ka Meghalaya State Commission for Protection of Child Rights bat ka Seva Bharati par panchal ki nong tho ko bor jong jala Meghalaya Sikkim Manipur Tripura bat Assam kilawan bani simbenta ha kene workshop kabala phai khmat sha ki benta ba pher jong ki an ki bai dei bat ki hok jong ki khna ka chairperson jong ka MSCPCR ka kong Yamon MSIM haba ajingkran kalaong bakum kene workshop na ka benta ki nong tho kubor kan yara banyada ki hok jong ki khna bat kalong ru bakum kini ki jingilang ki di bermeteng nang ne sha khmat ka kong sim kala priang ya ka benta bakilat pathai kubor ki don kum ki nong yada jong ki hok jong ki breu kalong ru bakilat pathai kubor ki don ka benta ka bakrau ban pani ya ka jingduna hakikam ban pentrei nak benta ka jingyada ya ki khna.
And this was, some of the points were incorporated in the later documents, that was in the Geneva Declaration of the Child Rights, where there's another Polish physicist, actually, doctor, who kind of expounded more about the rights of the child, and so it became visible. But I believe it is a tribute to people who wielded the pen, who wielded their words to make an impact on nations and movements. And as we are aware, in 1989 that happened, and India ratified the declaration in 1992. So we are committed to this protective network, this protective agenda that we have towards children. And I do hope that we have made an impact, and especially the presence of the commissions, especially the National Commission and all the commissions in the state of India, would have made that significance, and we are committed to that purpose and intent of the well-being and the best interests of the child. So this is some of the things that I wanted to say. But further, about these rights, and we've just spelled, I think that has just been spelled out, the right to life, right to survival, and so on and so forth. There's one right that I would just like to kind of share with you, and that is the right to identity. Now we talk about identity, and it's significant to us, especially with the media's concern. When we talk about identity, where do we derive our identity? Actually, we get that from a social network. We get that in society, because we are wired to be social beings living in society. So the affirmation, the way we identify is actually built up from our positions in the structure, the structure of society. For example, as a son of so-and-so, we have identities, in families, in our clans, especially in our tribal areas, and in the community as on the whole. So we have these identities, they are structural positions, whether we like it or not. And then how do we form an image of them? That is so important. And why I mention about identities also is because of the fact that there's a self-awareness, there's a self-perception where that is an inner identity, but there's also an outer identity, how the world sees us and how it projects us. And we have a large part to do. We have a significant part actually to build up identities of people, how we shame them, or we build them up, or we have these markers in society to pay tribute to certain kind of qualities, characteristics that we value in society. And when we think of the child, especially in terms of the identity, when we talk about sexual abuse, for instance, one of the things is a break heart kind of thing. I was talking to a few people, and one of them had been molested as a child about 6 decades ago, more than 6 decades ago. And you know what she said? One day we were talking about these things, and she said, I don't want to talk about it, because even after all these years, it's like a rusted spear that is, it's thrust into my heart and my being, and I still feel the pain. So the trauma never leaves. Just recently there was another case where a woman, after 17 years, she finally revealed, because she had these nightmares. They still have nightmares and trauma. They're fragmented, wounded, disabled, You talk about physical disability, but this is emotional disablement. They are wounds and ravages in the spirit and in the minds of people, even though they function like normal people, but then we don't know the damage. So a lot of walking wounded, I would say.
Northeast for us is very close to our heart, and the Government of India has a lot of emphasis on the northeastern part, and we want that every effort should be made to create a very inclusive environment. The children of this part of the country, this region of the country, are equally and more important like any other child, and the effort of the Commission is to reach out to every last child in the last line who's standing. And that is only possible when we collaborate with various important agencies, and media being one of the most important. While I will tell you a little more about the rights of the children, there are 4 core pillars of the child rights. One is, as you must be aware, right to survival, which talks about right to life, right to health, nutrition, name, nationality to a child, right to development of a child, which is the right to education, care, leisure, recreation, cultural activities, etc. And right to protection, which is from exploitation, abuse or neglect. The 4th right is being the right to participation. This is one of the most important right, because we are saying again and again, a child is also a citizen of this country, and he should get every opportunity to participate in decision-making processes, etc. So the right to expression, information, thought, religion, etc. is also one of the core rights of one of the 4 pillars of the child rights. Some of the core themes under which the Commission operates, and the thematic areas on which Commission works, is one is education. So we have Right to Education Act, Right to Free and Compulsory Education Act. The NCPCR and the State Commission has the mandate to monitor this act. There is child health, care, welfare and child development. This domain, or this thematic area also, the Commission monitors. And juvenile justice or care of neglected or marginalized children or children with disabilities is one of the core themes. JJ Act, Juvenile Justice, Care and Protection of Children, is the umbrella act, as you are aware, under which a lot of provisions are there which should be shared with each other. We should all know of those provisions, and we will eventually through the day will talk about certain such provisions. And elimination of child labor or children in distress is another theme that Commission focuses actively. And child psychology or sociology is another theme, and there are various other laws and legislations related to children on which the Commission focuses.